Hey there, movie lovers. Welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're setting sail for a tropical paradise with one of the most talked about films of the early 80s, The Blue Lagoon. This visually stunning and controversial coming-of-age tale captured the imaginations of audiences worldwide with its lush scenery, bold themes and breakout roles by Brooke Shields and Christopher Atkins. But how much do you really know about what went on behind the palm trees? So put on some sunscreen and get ready to explore 20 things you never knew about the Blue Lagoon. The film is based on a trilogy of novels by Henry de Vere Stackpole. While the film closely mirrors the events of the first book in the series, also titled The Blue Lagoon, the novels placed much greater emphasis on the culture of South Seas communities, especially as they came under increasing influence from European arrivals. The novel had already been adapted for the screen twice before. In 1923, director W. Bowden created a silent version of the story. Over 25 years later, British filmmaker Frank Launder brought a highly acclaimed adaptation to cinemas in 1949, starring Gene Simmons and Donald Houston. The film proved immensely popular, becoming the seventh highest grossing domestic release at the UK box office that year. The film sparked intense controversy over its depiction of underage sexuality, with critics and audiences alike questioning the ethics of filming nude scenes involving then 14-year-old Brooke Shields and her co-star Christopher Atkins, who was 18 at the time. It not only made headlines upon its release, but also prompted a government inquiry, with Brooke Shields being called to testify before the United States Congress. The young actress confirmed that body doubles were used for all nude scenes and that her chest was always concealed. In a television interview, she said, "The nude scenes weren't difficult because I didn't do them. As for the love scenes, it was just like any other job." Shields was no stranger to controversy of this kind, as she had previously appeared fully undressed in the 1978 film Pretty Baby at the age of just 11 years old. When her original nude body double suffered a broken back, the producers turned to Kathy Trout, who had initially been hired to catch and train dolphins, and happened to share Shields' body type. Trout agreed to step in and had no objections to performing the scenes. At 32 years old, she appeared in many of the long shots, and Shields' face was never shown during any explicit sequences. The costume team devised a clever method to keep Brooke Shields covered. At such a young age, Shields presented certain challenges for the production, particularly as her character, Emmeline, is often shown topless. To address this, the costume designers came up with a simple solution. They glued her long-haired wig directly to her body to ensure she remained covered at all times. Director Randall Kleiser, a longtime admirer of the book, initially intended for the two grown characters to appear nude throughout the entire film, an idea that deterred many actors and actresses. Willie Ames was the first choice for the role of Richard, but declined the part due to the required nudity. He later starred in a similar romance about two stranded teenagers, Paradise, in 1982, alongside Phoebe Cates, a film that, ironically, featured even more nudity than The Blue Lagoon. Interestingly, Cates was also among the actresses considered for the role of Emmeline. The casting director reviewed thousands of audition tapes collected over the previous year and decided Christopher Atkins would be suitable, provided he permed his hair to look wilder. With filming set to begin soon, the desperate director finally agreed to have Brooke Shields mostly covered and using a body double for the nude scenes. Christopher Atkins had no prior acting experience. Before landing the role of Richard, he worked as a model and sailing instructor. His inexperience brought a raw, awkward quality to the film, whether by design or chance. The shoot took the best part of 4 months, and Kleiser was determined to capture genuine authenticity for the film, going as far as to live like his characters during production. He explained that, in order to tell the story, he wanted to get as close to nature as possible, and have the crew live almost like the characters. He said they had found an island in Fiji with no roads, no running water, and no electricity, but with stunning beaches. A village of tents and huts was constructed for the crew to live in, and a small ship had been anchored in the lagoon to store camera equipment, cooking the meals, and for some more accommodation. This way of filming, he acknowledged, had been quite unconventional, but he felt it was perfectly suited to the project. Shields recalled being instructed to tan completely nude alongside Atkins, separated only by a flimsy makeshift wall. Shields added that they had never been eased into it. They arrived and suddenly they had wanted them tanned straight away without any lines. Atkins said that Shields had been right next to him, which made it even weirder because Shields had only been 14 at the time. He added that there had been scenes where he had been completely naked with Shields, such as sliding down the slide. He said it was a bit awkward, but he found it funny. However, Shields' reaction had been one of playful disgust. Since the chemistry between the two leads was crucial to the success of the film, director Randall Kleiser, who had previously directed Grease, devised a clever tactic to spark some romance. He placed a picture of Brooke Shields above Christopher Atkins' bed, hoping it would make him feel a little love-struck. Gazing at Shields nightly seemed to do the trick, as the pair shared a brief romance during filming. Atkins later said, "Brooke and I had a little bit of a romantic, innocent sort of romance at the very beginning of the film. It was very nice. We were very, very close friends." Although Shields and Atkins initially felt a strong connection, they quickly started bickering constantly. Atkins recalled, "Brooke grew tired of me. She thought I took acting far too seriously. I was always trying to get into the right mood while she'd be off joking with the crew." Cinematographer Nestor Almendros received an Oscar nomination for his work on the film. Although he ultimately lost to Jeffrey Unsworth and Ghislaine Cloquet for Tess, he already had an Academy Award to his name for his work on Terrence Malick's Days of Heaven. The talented director of photography, who passed away in 1992, was also nominated for Kramer vs. Kramer and Sophie's Choice. The production was anything but glamorous. Plagued by a rat infestation and ulcerated wounds, Shields caught pneumonia during filming and recalled that in the birthing scene, when she was meant to be giving birth, she suddenly struggled to breathe and broke into a coughing fit. Everyone on set praised it as a brilliant acting choice, but she was simply gasping, "I can't breathe." A new species of iguana was discovered when it appeared on screen. Most of the film was shot on a private island in Fiji, one of the natural habitats of the now critically endangered Fiji crested iguana. This distinctive lizard appeared throughout the movie, and when herpetologist John Gibbons saw an early screening, he noticed that the creature repeatedly shown on screen was unfamiliar. Intrigued, he travelled to Fiji, specifically to the island of Nanuya Levu, where he went on to discover the Fiji crested iguana, a previously undocumented native species. In the years following the movie's release, Nanuya Levu was transformed into a luxury resort, now famously known as Turtle Island. The resort cleverly capitalizes on the film's enduring legacy, attracting visitors eager to experience firsthand the enchanting landscape that once brought the Blue Lagoon to life. Despite its popular source material and Oscar-nominated cinematography, the Blue Lagoon wasn't universally adored. Brooke Shields was handed the Razzie Award for Worst Actress, beating out a surprising group of nominees that included Shelley Duvall for The Shining. Christopher Atkins, though, was nominated for the New Star of the Year Golden Globe Award. For the cannibalistic ritual performed by the natives, the filmmakers tried to be as authentic as possible. They researched the tattoos and had the tribal chief choreograph the dance. The chant that they are all saying can be translated to, "Our enemies are floating ducks." The sequel, 1991's Return to the Blue Lagoon, starred Mila Jovovich and Brian Krause, and was produced and directed by William A. Graham. It deviates from the source material and essentially tells the same tale as its predecessor. Blue Lagoon: The Awakening, a 2012 TV film, featured Indiana Evans and Brenton Thwaites in the lead roles. This installment marked a significant departure from previous Blue Lagoon films in several ways. Set in a contemporary era rather than the Victorian period, it follows teenagers raised in normal society who become stranded, rather than growing up on the island from childhood. Christopher Atkins also appears in the film as Mr. Christensen, a teacher on the trip. Brooke Shields and Christopher Atkins would reunite years later on Shields' sitcom Suddenly Susan, appearing together in the 1999 episode titled Sometimes You Feel Like a Nut. Their on-screen reunion served as a nostalgic nod to their shared cinematic past and delighted fans who remembered their controversial pairing from the 1980 film. Despite receiving largely negative reviews from critics upon its release, The Blue Lagoon defied expectations by becoming a significant commercial success. The film grossed over $58 million on a budget of just $4.5 million, securing its place as the 9th highest grossing film in North America that year. This strong box office performance demonstrated that, regardless of critical opinion, the movie resonated with audiences worldwide, captivated by its romantic and adventurous storylines set against a lush tropical backdrop, or people just wanted to see what all the fuss was about for themselves. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about the Blue Lagoon. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.